Welcome to episode 562 of Salsidoparanormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I'm talking about more haunted places in the U.S. As always, you can find all episodes of the show. Never mind. Okay. I thought I saw that. I was muted. I see what. I don't even know what happened. Anyway, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media and other ways to contact me at the podcast page. And that is salsidoparanormal.podbean.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.podbean.com. Always happy to hear from y'all, whether you have comments or questions or topic suggestions, or stories of paranormal experiences, whether they're your own or from others that you trust. Happy to either read those or have you join me on the show to talk about them. Yeah, for some reason, for a second there, it looked like my microphone was muted. But everything looks like it's okay, so I was just seeing things wrong. Would not be the first time. As always, I want I got my order wrong as well. Anyway, thank you all for listening. There we go. Whether you are here for the live streams on Discord, or if you listen to the podcast or YouTube feeds, or if you listen on the Troubled Minds Radio Network, KUAP, Digital Broadcasting. There you can hear replays of 2 episodes of the show every night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, right before Troubled Minds Radio comes on. And as always, I'd like to thank Michael Strange, host of Troubled Minds Radio, for putting these shows on the station. If you'd like to support the show, there are some different ways to do that. You can always share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can find books I've written, paranormal fiction and nonfiction, over on Amazon. You can also sign up to the Patreon page, where I try to put out 1 extra show per month over there for all paid membership tier levels. And that is going to be, usually anyway, will be the true paranormal stories from the web. You can also make one-time donations through PayPal. Support is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows, from equipment to research materials to travel expenses in some cases. So I think that covers all of that. I'm still dealing with allergies, so I'm sorry if you hear any noises here. But hopefully, I'm starting a little better, so hopefully they'll just keep going, and by next week I'll be back to normal. So probably going to do these episodes here tonight and then go right to bed. Anyway, so the last time we did one of these episodes, we kind of transitioned from hotels, and then I mentioned that we were going to be transferring to swamp area. And of course, I will share the article links in the episode description, so you can check them out and look at all the pictures and all those things for yourselves. So this place that I want to talk about tonight is Bear Creek Swamp in Prattville. And local legends claim that the swamp is haunted by the spirits of local Native Americans there, as well as Civil War soldiers. So the first article is from AlabamaHauntedHouses.com. And it just doesn't really have a title here as far as I've found. It just has the location. And it has, apparently this is in between a couple of different towns, because the town it has here is Ottawaville, Alabama. So it says that there's many legends or rumors about the area, including many ghost stories there. Phantom cars are said to go down that road, the road next to it, and then vanish late at night. Orbs have been seen there, and as well as, let me see here, some people reported seeing an apparition, roughly 4 feet tall, popping out in front of their cars. There's also been sightings of the ghosts of Creek Indians in the area, as well as Civil War soldiers and early settlers from Europe there, as well as a woman looking for her lost child, who will attack anyone that sort of taunts her, which is never a good thing to do anyway. But in November of 2014, the county sheriff's office received several calls. Recovered. I don't know why I thought it was received. Recovered several dolls from a graveyard, and that's in quotation marks there, that had been set up in the swamp near County Road 3, and the dolls were basically attached to bamboo stakes floating in the swamp. And of course, they're pretty sure it was some kind of prank, because these dolls were basically painted white and then left to just stay there until they started to fall apart. And no one to this day, apparently, as of this article, has admitted to doing this, and no one really knows why, other than just some kind of prank. But as far as now, this one website here has some different accounts of people that actually went there, and one says that their teenage children and some of their friends had the writer drive them up to the road, or to the swamp area, and the writer parked before getting to the bridge, and they walked the rest of the way into the swamp. And once they got to the bridge, right in the middle of the swamp, they stopped and turned a small recorder on. So I'm guessing an audio recorder. It says they were very quiet and a little scared, but nothing interesting happened at the time, except when they went to. So they went several other places before they got home and listened to the recorder, and they could clearly hear a man's voice whispering, "Get out of here." And that's always amazing, because on the one hand, it sounds like a horror Hollywood movie trope. But if you think about whoever or whatever is out there, and this area is known for being sort of a hot spot, then it would make sense that there'd be feelings from whoever's there about people going in there. And yeah, I was wondering about that too. Derek in the chat says prank or possible spell or ritual on a mystical location. And I was wondering about that too, because that's obviously not something the police are going to say, but it could be. Dolls could act as vessels, maybe. Who knows? Right, exactly. So going back to the article here. All right. So that's the end of that first account there. This next one starts with in all capital letters, "Real stuff, don't mess with this." Says that the writer says that they and their friends thought it would be basically funny to taunt the spirit, as I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the show here. And about 5 minutes after they got done laughing it off in the car shut off and would not turn back on. And they heard a woman laughing out in the woods. And they thought they were done for, of course, until the car finally started to work. And they got out of there. again, you have this turning off of vehicles of electronics. And so that's really neat that that happened in a way, because it kind of showed them might not be the nicest thing to do, obviously. Let's see here. I just got to take care of something real quick. And I've gone through so much paper towel recently. I can't even tell you. So anyway, so that's the first article that I had to talk about for today. The second one is from MontgomeryAdvertiser.com. So this is one of those neat cases where it's not a paranormal themed website. And the title reads, Why Ottaga's Bear Creek Swamp is fertile ground for spooky tales and ghostly legends. So this is a swamp again in this general area here. I already mentioned the name. It's difficult, so I'm not going to try to say it again. So there have been, now this is amazing here. So as goes into some other things that have been reported, that includes mysterious booms, floating orbs of light, ghostly apparitions of long ago people, and then a distraught phantom mother wandering the mist-covered realm looking for her missing child. And that's sort of just a summary there of the stuff that's said to happen there. So the article talks about the counties, basically this area. All these things are common in this area. It says it's located between these two towns I mentioned earlier already, Prattville, and Ottaguaville. And this is bisected by Highway 14, the county's main east-west corridor. So again, you have sort of the space that people do go through all the time, and then it's also has paranormal activity as well. So it's been long been known to be the source of legends of haunts, spirits, and otherworldly goings-on. It says that generations of local teens have gone there by attempting to stay a whole night at the swamp, but hardly anyone ever managed to do that. And there's an account here from someone named Kaylee, says that they went there when they were a teenager and they won't go again. And they went out there with a bunch of friends when they were around 16 years old. And she's an adult now, in her 30s. And they called for the woman looking for her child. Like the legends, 3 times like the legend said to, so you have a repetition going on there. It says it was quiet, and then they heard a loud splash and a scream. And so Kaylee, the writer there, got in their car and took off. And they've never been back. And she says she doesn't even like driving to through that area because you have to go through the swamp. So, talks about the story of the woman there, which we already talked about. And moving on to the next thing here, part of this article here. But there's also, if you go there at night, apparently, so they're talking about the whole thing again. So there's been noises and apparitions again, and then even smells. It says that some of the reports from the swamp can be explained away easily enough. Reports of booms, for instance, have gone back decades. And so let's see here. Many of the less spectrally inclined in the 1980s went back, just chalked it up to moonshine stills going off. So that's quite the explanation for that. But also, you hear about that booms in so many areas of paranormal activity going on. So hard to say. And could also be as simple as landowners uh, basically doing their own kind of work in their areas as well. So, but let me see here. So, looking at the rest of this article, there's not a ton left in there. But of course, it says that a quick online search for haunted areas or paranormal activities will usually bring up a lot of accounts from the area. And of course, they all come with one warning: don't go in there alone. So, let me see here. There's a part here that talks about someone named Scott, who is native to the area, and he considers himself level-headed and not one to give credence to tall tales. But, excuse me, he spent time in the area as a kid, and he would dare his friends to venture out past the bonfire's ring of light when they were on the swamp. And he apparently hunts the land that edges up to the swamp. So he says it's easy enough to brush it all off when it's daytime. And you're in town, but when there are times when he's in the swamp hunting, that he does get a little freaked out and he starts to wonder. So, and let's see here. So, looking up the rest of this article here, and of course, it does mention it mentions that practical joke. And again, I'm with Eric on this. I wonder if this whole thing with the dolls being put there could be something other than that, but you never know. Could even be a bit of both. Kids thinking that magic is not even real, or people, and doing that for a laugh, not knowing maybe there's something to it as well. So, let's see here. There have been deputies on patrol in the area that have come across people in the area from time to time that, and then basically they say it usually happens more around the time of Halloween, of course. So, getting to the rest of this here, it says they come across carloads of people, kids and some from other towns in the area. One of the police people says, one of the officers says, and they're out there looking for the swamp ghost. So that's all I have for that one. That's a lot there. The next one we'll say, because it's a university, and maybe we could actually start this one, because I have two articles, but the second one is huge. But you know what? Better not, because who knows if it's as huge as it seems like it will be when I actually read it. So, but here you have, and I've heard of similar places before, of swamps and natural areas having paranormal activity in and around them. So, looking at the chat here, yeah, the booms are weird. That's for sure. From Derek there, and he says, in Lovecraft's The Dunwich Horror, the booms are the sign that the main character was doing rituals to open portals, yes. And the town figured them out because of the portals, and that made those sounds. So, yeah. Yeah, because if you think about that, there's, if you have some kind of opening between dimensions, you're going to have a displacement of air usually. So, Yeah, swamp gas, the UFO thing, definitely. But yeah, so I thought that was a neat location because, like I said, I've heard so much about similar things and all those kinds of locations out in really forests, swamps, anything near water, of course. And so yeah, it's pretty neat there. I'm glad I found that location. Glad it was mentioned when I did a search. And let's see here. So that's it for that location. Again, next time we'll be doing covering a university, Montebello University. We did cover it before, but I found some different articles, so it'll be a little bit different. And I believe that's the last location for Alabama that I have. Let me check on that real quick. Yeah, so we'll do that one next time for the next one of these kind of shows, and then we'll be moving on to Alaska. So, and I'm interested in Alaska just because of how rugged so much of it is, at least compared to what I'm used to anyway. And all the different kind of weather you can encounter there. Of course, there's that whole Alaskan vortex or triangle thing I've heard about there. And so I'm sure that'll be pretty easy to find some things, some locations. And talking about synchronicities, also, first off, I want to mention, I already told Derek this, but he was right about that book that we've been reviewing, that Book of Ceremonial Magic. It did come out. It came out before, but then it did come out again in sort of its final form right around 1910, 1913, that area. And that is, as Derek said last time, that is right in the time of Fort and Crowley and Lovecraft and all those people that are into all these weird things. So that was neat. And also, I've been listening to a series of shows. It's called Brothers of the Serpent, and they have the whole UFO series. And I was listening to it the other night after finishing some shows, the shows I did, and they brought up that Book of Ceremonial Magic. And it's funny because we talked about how it seemed like some of the entities that the book was talking about could almost be classified as aliens. So I thought that was a really neat couple of synchronicities there that we had recently involving my shows and other shows. And so, yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. And but yeah, and so we'll be getting back into that book review next episode. And I will be doing that. I'll be taking care of that idea we had about topic-based or search term-based episodes of True Paranormal Stories from the Web. I'll be starting that up, one of those per week, starting next week. So I've got a couple options already. Elevators is one. Definitely, I want to do one with hallways. Another one I want to do is gas stations, because that seems to be a common one as well. So, but yeah, so that's basically the plans for the future here. That's what I usually do when I sort of end up with a few minutes left of the show. So thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all in the next episode of Salsidoparanormal. Take care.